to whom it may concern, being all of Digital Extremes. As a player of the game for 6 years, putting 2,000 hours in and over 900 days logged, I do have some concerns in regards to parts of the game, some staff responses, and a partner that is currently letting the game down to a point where ambition is killing it since the last 3 updates: All Blood, Empyrean, and Scarlet Spear. Though Rahetalius has addressed the issues in his video, I wish to give an outside perspective as someone who is not part of the partner program, a chat moderator, or a founder of the game, but has been there for nearly the start of it. I will also be bringing in other perspectives of other players that either I've recruited or is part of my clan that have played the game to give me more further to the concerns being brought to light. Without further ado, let us begin. So let's start with the updates in their order, being with All Blood. Since its launch, many folks have complained about the Kuverliches being the strongest enemies in the game, when of course it should be the sentience due to the story. But now the fact that this nemesis system has come into play, they've now been downplayed and underpowered even with the Scarlet Spear. Many people will die from the Kuverlich than they would from a Symbolist, or even by the actual enemy at hand being Ira and Natar. In addition, one of the developers, which I do recall being Scott, said that they'll look into it in a year due to other products. This seems to be more of a half-assed excuse. Considering that he also made remarks about the simulacrum when it's been used for weapon and Warframe reviews before actual missions. It seems to be rather unprofessional, as the simulacrum is supposed to be testing weapons on Warframes out against programmed enemies that have been scanned for Cephalon Samaras. Going on to Empyrean. Oh boy, how do I start with this? To put it lightly, it was chaotic. Being one of the folks who got the materials the old way before the refunds happened, I can sadly say it was a farce, along with the non-rushed waiting time, especially since most of us had to work over the holiday period. What both updates looked like at Telecom was not what we received at the end of it, in 2018 and 2019. This was clearly false advertisement to bring false hype and hope to revitalize the game and its community to be more positive, especially with no management in the team to keep everyone in check with the projects that are currently going on. There is still more bugs in Railjack that have been discovered, and yet you have yet to address them, but though you can do it in the dev stream next week, as we need more hotfixes on the updates than new content at this moment in time. The fact apparently you released Empyrean during the Game Awards just before the holidays hit was nothing more than cheap marketing ploy, especially in its current state. Now on to Scarlet Spear. Of the ongoing pandemic, this was also rushed to make up for the lost time, as by June of this year it would be the 2nd anniversary of the Sacrifice update, and of course in May would be the 2-year anniversary of Total Biscuit's passing. And I do believe that Total Biscuit would be turning in his grave, or ashes depending, if he had seen the game in its current state. He would more likely rally more people to get you, as DE, to do something about this. I know Rebecca Ford has spoken about this on a home time stream beforehand, but it's the fact that it's just calming before the storm. Now it's reached its boiling point. Everyone's furious. Partners are furious, community's furious, the Reddit is furious, everyone is furious. We're all frustrated. We know this. And in fact, I was informed that this update would be delayed by an update I had on my phone, and then it just got released literally the day after I got that announcement. Completely threw me off guard. Along with the nerfs on Limbo and Korra against the sentence, those can still benefit on the ground rather than the Murex raids. It's just this whole entire thing seems to be more of a grind, especially with the Scarlet credits. The trainings for that are egregious for repetitive content and grind that us as a community, just to gain the weapons in the arcanes, whether it is in 10 to 30 runs for grounds or the Murex runs, seems rather far-fetched. It's just pandering. Just to try and keep it stored so that way you can focus on the actual content at hand, of course being the new war, the Devouring Paradox, the Deadlock Protocol. This needs to be stopped. But looking at the feedback that many players and partners have expressed on social media, it has now actually become clear that Warframe needs to be fixed. Anything new that comes out, like the ones I've just mentioned, or even Tenogen, they need to be stalled. Fortuna and Cetus are yet utilized other than repeated events. It's pretty much a nothing burger. No one wants to do Fortuna, no one wants to do Cetus now, because Scarlet Spear has made Eidolon hunting completely redundant. The only thing right now that's only good for Cetus for the Eidolons is to get shards. Get shards for new players that are now discovering the power of Cetus, or obtaining focus. And I do agree with Rahetalius and Ashogutano and some other members that this year needs to be a year that you, as DE, start to fix the game to help bring back the player base and hold off on products mentioned. Please fix the recent updates before moving on to the next. The demand for new content is rather minuscule, and the hotfixes are needed more than ever to help bolster up the game. It's still buggy. This is miscommunication between you as devs and us as community. We seem to be ignoring each other. You guys are too busy with projects. We're trying to help you. That's all we're trying to do. I do believe it's best to push the projects, push the new war, push everything back by either later half this year or next year. We can understand. We want quality over quantity. Good comes to those who wait. Because right now, Warframe in its state is going on the path as No Man's Sky when that was released. I'm now going to let the players that I picked up speak about their opinion on the game and their feedback, both negative and positive.
Hi, my name's Elusive Twin, and I just want to give my perspective on Warframe as a game, basically. Now, I started originally in beta. I took a hiatus from the game when it was still very small. Didn't have that many different maps and things like that. Didn't have many different varieties. I basically played it the first few months, picked it up a couple of times here and there, but didn't really get stuck back into it. Recently, I have, for the past 6 months, have started playing it again more religiously. And these are some of the criticisms that I have about the game coming back into it. Now, obviously a lot of things have changed. There's more of a rolling storyline, you've got outside zones and things like that. But the things that really I have a criticism with was the fact that I didn't realise that there was a rolling storyline. A storyline that had a chain and a string to different parts of the game that took you into different parts, leading up to different elements towards the end of the game. This is something that wasn't apparent, sort of thing. Now, I'm an MMORPG player. I play games like Final Fantasy XIV. I've played other MMOs like Star Wars Galaxies, things like that. Matrix Online. Now, each game had a underlying storyline that would lead you along a path, basically. So it would take you by the hand and say, this is where you need to go next. What I find with Warframe, although the codex kind of does that for you, it's not clear. Because it's all like fuzzed out, which is, aesthetically interesting and gives it more dynamic. The problem is, once you've done one of the missions, it doesn't tell you which one you need to do next. It just says what you need to do to unlock each different, each mission that's in that log. But it doesn't tell you which ones are specifically important. It doesn't tell you which ones are, the storyline missions, and it doesn't, really outline what you're supposed to do next. That's what I found really, really awkward, really sort of like, really complicated playing the game again. I hadn't realized that was something, you'd have to work out. Luckily for me, I'd been playing with my fiance, who's a seasoned player. She's been playing for over 5 years, I think it was 5 or 6 years, and she knew exactly what she was doing, so I had to keep asking her for her help. Now, really, when you come into a game and you're playing for the first time, you're not going to have that kind of support. So going straight into the game and not knowing what you're doing is a little daunting. And if you don't have, if you can't follow a storyline, then eventually, this is the original reason why I stopped playing in the first place, is because I couldn't find the progress. I had no idea how to level up. I had 2 frames, I think it was. I had no idea that your rank was based on what you unlocked from the game. What you unlocked as in different weapons, different frames, different abilities, different mods, all that kind of stuff. I had no idea that the overall rank was the what you unlocked from the game. I thought it was XP, like in a normal MMO. You level up by killing things. You get more XP, you rank up. That was something that wasn't explained to me either. So all this information I found either on Google or through my fiance. Now, the thing is, if a game can't give you the information, you have to go online or ask someone for it. That does make it a little bit awkward, because people that don't do that are obviously going to find it very difficult to enjoy the game for the first time by themselves until they join a clan or make friends, because they'll just be running around doing the same thing, not knowing where they're supposed to be going and not knowing what they're supposed to be doing necessarily. It's like I didn't realize as well about the ranking up system, that you go to the relays, and then you go to Cephalon's to Meris, and you've got those rank up systems there, that when you hit that rank par, that you do the test and then you go to the next rank. When I've played it before, I had no idea that's what you did. I discovered it completely by accident, because I don't remember the game actually telling me that's what I needed to do. So, for example, all those elements there, for example, I mean, they're just standard, simple things right there. None of that is actually clear and explained as part of the game's dynamic, as far as I can remember. So, as a new player, you're thrown into the deep end without a paddle. Basically, it's like there's an instruction manual on how to build your boat while you're standing on a dinghy, sort of thing. So build your boat and get to the other end. And obviously, that's going to be very, very awkward if you don't have any instructions. So that's my point. Basically, is there's not much direction in the game that tells you how to go anywhere. Don't even get me started on Scarlet Spear. I haven't even really tried it because I don't know what I'm doing in that. And to be honest with you, even the ground stuff worked it out. The railjack stuff, not really that clear. Not clear at all. I mean, it's one of those things where you sort of work it out as you play. And I'm sure that, experts that play the game all the time would be able to work these things out very, very quickly. But again, me, a new player, or a relatively newest player, even though I used to play in beta, only really been playing solid for the past, say, 6 to 7 months. It's not something that's, been explained and is easy to just jump straight into. So basically, things like that. It's the game itself. I love the game. There's nothing wrong with the game. It's just that the little elements that explain what everything does and how you do things and how you progress to different parts of the game are not explained. So, and this is, like I said before, this is one of the original reasons why I stopped playing in the first place, because I didn't know how to progress, and I played the game and nothing was taking me anywhere, and I didn't know anyone because I wasn't in a clan. So basically, at the end of the day, because I couldn't work it out, I left. And a lot of players are like that. So initially, that would be my criticism. If there was something that was a bit more explained, something a bit more, black and white and clear, and and directly to the point, that would help you along the way, that, in my opinion, would make the game a lot better. I mean, it would make my experience a lot better because then I would know exactly what I'm doing. I keep discovering things now, completely by accident. And obviously there are still thousands of things about the game that I still don't know. But again, that's my little bit. So back to you, Insaians. And as a side note, I'd like to add my, understanding of Kuvelich and Railjacks, which is next to nothing. Basically, I have no idea. I know there's a quest in the codex that's blocked out that starts you on the road to building a railjack. Now, I have not really experienced that yet. I have done a couple of railjack missions, being kind of thrown in the deep end, not really knowing what I'm supposed to be doing because there isn't really any... See, the thing is with these games is obviously they don't really have that, like a quest log necessarily. Like down the side it shows like your objectives, but doesn't necessarily specifically outline what you're supposed to be doing. When I'm on a railjack, you're doing a railjack mission, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I'm running around, I can hear things going off. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? There's things on fire. What tools do I need? All this kind of business. And when it comes to Scarlet Spear, that one's even more confusing. Taking the railjack that says, please bring the railjack close to broadcast signal thing in. And there's all these other, things going off. When I did the railjack for the first time, I was controlling the ship for Scarlet Spear, and there was a waypoint away from the from the Scarlet Spear ship thing, whatever it's called, and I went completely the wrong direction because I didn't know I was supposed to be going near the actual ship itself. So basically, it doesn't really explain it too well, and it just threw me completely for a loop. I mean, we all went in blind when we played it. My fiance had a better idea of what we were supposed to do, but me and my friend Blissy, we had no idea what we were doing. We were trying to guess it, and we were trying to follow orders at the same time, and we were trying to follow the waypoints, and basically everything went wrong because we didn't know what we were supposed to do. There wasn't any clear guideline as to what we were supposed to be doing. So that's just my extra little bit on there. And Kuvelich, well, I haven't got a clue. I haven't even got to that bit yet, so I couldn't tell you anything, unfortunately. So yes, that's my little extra. So thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Blissiful, and this is my personal opinion as a new player in Warframe. Honestly, I first came into the game because I liked the fact that it was fast-paced. Watching my friends play made me interested in playing it as well. I went into the game not really knowing much about it or how to really play it. I mainly relied on my friends helping me and what information the game gave me. I learned really quickly that the game doesn't really give information other than in the beginning. Then again, I'm used to being in games that help guide you in your way throughout the game rather than having to look up the stuff yourself. I didn't really know you had to look up certain things yourself until I was in need of it. It doesn't explain to you how mastery rank up works, how to get a railjack, the importance of mods and how to utilize them, or even what quests are in the main storyline from the side quests in the codex. Warframe isn't a game I'm used to, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. If anything, it's a great game if you have friends to play it with, or have built a community in. Now that I know what to do and how the game works, it's a fun game, and hope that you'll continue to improve their content in the future and make it fun for both players who have played since the beginning, or for new players like me who just started.
It has also come to my attention that Scott, the person I mentioned before, has opened out on Quiet Shy's video about the struggles with the feedback that has been drawn out due to the content that's been released, the call-outs and the criticisms. I do agree that we all are human. We could tell you that you are getting upset, especially Rebecca. She was almost about to bawl her eyes out during the prime time. We could tell that. Based on how people reacted to Scarlet Spear. We are on the same page as yourselves about the game. We can see you are ambitious, but it's okay to hold everything back. Warframe has excelled in certain departments, but definitely needs to work on others before moving on to future content. Now, it's time to speak about the elephant in the room. The final part to what I'm about to say. He has been reported numerous times, not just by Rahetalius, but by other members of the Warframe subreddit, partners, and it's been spoken about by other people. But before you start pulling that card, and then you know which one I'm talking about, Robbie. I am bisexual. I have plenty of gay friends. I am a woman with autism. And I have transgendered friends. Just thought I'd pull that out before you start accusing me of such falsities on Twitter. Because I know I'll keep an eye on you, sweetheart. And yeah, I'm being pedantic. To you, DE, gay guy players has been problematic within the community in regards to his attitude since he joined the exact same time as I. Since 2008, he's feeling he has the right to call new players trash, bragging about his hours in the game, and basically using the strategist emblem as a, sort of bragging rights, even though it's completely pointless. Tactical alerts, even though they're technically a nothing burger, the emblem itself is nothing but pointless. But in throwing the gay card into everyone's faces for even the slightest disagreement, such as what he said apparently that he has accused of Rahetalius of being homophobic when he wasn't targeted at all, other than for that small clip from the previous video about the chat moderators, and that he became a bigger issue for the recent video. And harassing you as developers on Twitter to make an augment mod just for him because he hates an aspect about Titania, about the vacuum of our razor wings, and getting a former member of the Guides of Lotus program kicked out due to political views from the 2016 US election. Unprofessional attitudes towards other players about a hotfix, very discriminatory towards others, which can be hypocritical even after his dispute with RedX Dev some time ago. He has been nothing but a spoiled child when he doesn't get his way and will throw any sort of accusation online and bully others till he gets what he wants. See Rahetalius' video at 20 minutes and 15 seconds to see my point. I am aware that DE is afraid to deal with him in case of any false accusations of backlash that he may provide, because he can't handle criticism for his irrational behaviour, because he's part of the LGBT. But even members of that said group, such as a former partner, Sabuchi, and the subreddit have disavowed his behaviour as unacceptable, and he has no shred of human decency. It is very clear that he needs to be reprimanded for his behaviour, and there is tons of evidence to prove that fact. But suddenly, you, as DE, have been ignoring it for the longest time. In the words of Filthy Frank, it's time to stop! The proper punishment for this would be to remove him from the partner program, as he will not feel as privileged to basically look down at other players, talk down to them, being condescending on his tweets, calling anyone a bitch for just basically complaining about a hotfix. He could have handled this situation a lot better, even I do, and giving Warframe a rather toxic outlook. You want him to be the face of Warframe? I certainly don't, and that's me saying my humble opinion. So please, DE, don't ignore the community any longer. We just want to help make the game just as much as you are, but approach to it is destroyed and as blatant miscommunication for everyone in all aspects. I eagerly await for your response in the dev stream next week, as we need to be transparent between developers and the community to help bring the game back to its former glory during the second Dream update. Thank you very much for your time. I'll wait for you in the comments, wait for your tweets, and I'll eagerly wait for your response. Ciao.